All right, here today I have Mr. Ryan Lavarnway with me. Ryan is a MLB veteran, and he is actually currently still with the Israeli national team.
Homer for Ryan Lavarnway makes it 6-0.
Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Ryan is currently out in Arizona because he is currently helping coach
The Chicago Cubs.
And obviously they're doing their spring training stuff out in Arizona. Ryan's dealing with high A, single A, triple A, all different levels, of coaching up the Cubs catchers. And how's that going for you, man?
It's been fun. I didn't know if I was going to stay in baseball post playing. I went to Yale. Everyone always kind of assumed they're like, you'll be a big success in whatever you do. And when I thought about getting out of the game, I really didn't think there was anything else that I really loved as much, or at least not at this point in my life. So I'm doing a ton of actually motivational speaking. I speak to corporate America all the time about leadership, about perseverance, resilience. But when I got the call from the Cubs and they asked if I wanted to get back in uniform and help coach, it was a pretty cool opportunity. It's a pretty unique role where I coach 12 days a month. I do my speaking and my coaching to corporate America the rest of the month, and it's a pretty cool setup.
That's excellent. Are you so corporate America, right? Somebody will just kind of dip in and say, "Hey, we're looking for, a guy to come out, speak to our company and this and that," and you'll get the call on that end of things?
Yeah, there's a lot of times where they'll have an event, either an annual meeting or a kickoff, a sales kickoff, regional meeting, whatever, and they need someone to come tell a great story with a great message, be entertaining, or really help hammer home something that the CEO or the leadership has been trying to get through anyway. And they need someone that's outside of their industry to come say it in a new way. So me being a baseball player, people love sports analogies. They love hearing the resilience piece of how I was called up and sent down and called up and sent down and traded a million times. So I got really good at not giving up, and I kind of share the things that helped me keep going when the going got tough. And people need to hear it. Resilience is universal.
Absolutely love that, man. And I could not share that sentiment anymore with you. But let's get into the real tough questions here, Rye. All right, let's get started. We're going to get in. I didn't want to do this to you, but we're going to get into the real toughies, and then we'll take it easy and ease back in. All right, brother. So these are the toughs: Whopper or Big Mac?
Big Mac, 100%.
Big Mac, hands down. You didn't hesitate much.
No, my dad worked his way through college at McDonald's, so we've got an affinity to it.
Okay, that's fair. And when is the last time you had a Big Mac?
Try to lean more healthy now, but I don't know. Definitely within the last couple months.
Isn't it strange, man? Like, I eat healthy as well and work out, right? And I have 3 little boys, and you try to teach them all the right things. Sometimes you just need to go get a Big Mac.
Dude, let me tell you, dude. My wife went to culinary school, and we're huge foodies. So our number one hobby is we pick one of the top 100 restaurants in the world, and we fly wherever it is, and we have a amazing meal once a year at least.
Okay.
I've been to, I think, 14 of the top 100 restaurants in the world. Costs thousands of dollars for the two of us. Yeah. I also love a $1.50 hot dog from Costco as much as the next guy. I love food in all forms. I'm not a snob about it. I just love food. I love everything about it. And a Big Mac is near perfect.
That leads into actually what I was going to ask you was back when you were playing, or even now, game day meal. What did you used to have? Did you kind of have something you would always, that was your go-to game day meal when you played?
Yes and no. It was streaky. If I was hot, I would eat the same thing all the time.
Okay, right. The superstition?
Yeah, superstitious. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. I'm not the first person.
You're a baseball player, of course you are.
Yeah. I'm not the first person to say that. Yeah. But there was a hot streak. The best 11 game streak of my life I can still point to. It was July 2011. I hit 8 homers in a 10-game homestand, and then a homer in the first game of the road trip. So 9 homers in 11 games.
What was on the menu?
I was living with Josh Reddick at the time. Okay. My roommate.
Yeah.
And I would wake up, I would go to Quiznos as they opened at 11 a.m. and get the 13-inch, the large traditional with extra ranch, which is 1,300 calories.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife thinks it's disgusting, but I had it every single day. And I listened to David Guetta radio on Pandora with commercials.
Wow. And that was the ritual.
Very specific. And everything I hit was a homer.
And then after that fell off, right? When all of a sudden you're not hitting home runs anymore, it's it's got to be the Quiznos, man, right? You got to blame it then afterwards.
I maybe stopped getting it as frequently. That's still my work. There's not that many Quiznos anymore.
Yeah, is Quiznos still around?
Yeah, I don't think ownership treated their franchisees very well. That's another story. No, you know what gets blamed? Oftentimes my wife blames the walk-up song.
Okay.
She'll tell me there's no more hits in that song. You got to change it.
My next question was regarding number one, walk-up songs, and what kind of your favorite one was, what was your go-to? And then I was going to ask what you and wifey fight about the most, right? Whether you guys are just
all right. Well,
fight,
let's go.
little skirmishes and this and that.
Yeah. Let's go with songs. For most of my career was Brown Eyed Girl for my wife. Other consistent ones, I had Head and Heart by Joel Corey. That was a good one. When I played for the Braves, I was in a weird phase. I had Cocaine by
Kodak Black.
No.
Eric Clapton.
Robin Thicke. Cocaine by Robin Thicke was the one.
Wow. Okay. Would you say? Hold on. Time out. You said when I was with the Braves, it was in a weird way, and I was listening to that one. Is that one's just abstract? Something you normally?
Not that I was doing. No, I've never done cocaine. No, but I like the song. I don't know.
Late breaking news. Lavarnway admits to using cocaine the whole time he played in MLB.
No, I've never done cocaine. But I think for me, it was pretty edgy to even use a song with the name of a drug.
Yeah.
Versus like Brown Eyed Girl is very family friendly, and so is Head and Heart. So I've always been pretty cognizant of what I'm putting out there, and reputationally, wanted to be family friendly, wanted to be a role model that parents would allow their kids to try to emulate. So Cocaine is an edgy, just the name of the song.
Sure. That's too funny, man. That's too funny. I think sometimes you don't realize as a player, whatever song you're going up, the kids pay attention to that, because guess what? My son's a little travel player. Then he'll be using that. If he's got his guy and he hears it, so Cocaine was the one that, maybe might not have been the choice of all parents, but hey, man, you got to mix it up a little bit. How were your years in Atlanta before I really jump onto the next? I got to ask that. How were your Atlanta years?
Atlanta was good. So I was in the big leagues with Atlanta for the second half of the 2015 season. And then I was in AAA Gwinnett for the first half of the next season before I moved on to my next team. I ended up playing for 11 different organizations, 13 on paper, 8 in the big leagues. So I was with the Red Sox for 7 years. That was the longest stint. And then it was next stop. Every time my phone rings, I might be on a new team.
Well, where's that ring? I mean, you got that ring from 13, right?
Yeah, it's in the backpack over there somewhere.
It's just a World Series ring. Just let that sit in the back there.
You know what? It travels in a cloth sunglasses case.
Okay.
In the backpack, because I can't can you imagine I'm wearing that thing on an airplane, or I bang it against a door because I'm being clumsy? It's so big. I don't wear it every day, but I wear it to events, especially when I'm speaking. People like to try it on, or if I do a book reading of my kid's book at a school, they love it.
Yeah, I like it. But
sometimes when I rent a car, I'll put it on, and I've gotten an upgraded rental car a couple of times.
Absolutely, I'd upgrade your car, man. You flash that thing. I have a replica of the Braves, ring from a couple of years ago, and it's from the new stadium. And when you open up the top of it, obviously this is a replica, but the real one had rubies of every single home run that was hit. Out in the stands, they'd put a little ruby in. This is a dope ring. That's really cool. Yeah, and there was quite a few hit that year, so there's a lot of rubies in this thing. And I just look at it, and this is a replica, and this thing's heavy and big, and I can only imagine what these guys, they're
That's
big
cool.
rings. Like you said, you can't really wear, they're showpieces, right? But you have that, and nobody can ever take that away from you, bro. You have it. What do you think of the term journeyman? When you hear that, what are your thoughts on that term?
Yeah, so early in my career, when I was still a prospect, journeyman felt like a dirty word.
Okay.
That felt like the thing that I didn't want to become, because it meant that I never made it. It meant that, I wasn't a superstar. And early in my career, they were like, Ryan has the potential to be the next Carlton Fisk. Like, he could really hit.
You were ranked, you were like 9 overall prospect.
Yeah, there was this huge potential there. And then, based on injuries, based on opportunity, based on Christian Vasquez turning into a huge prospect right behind me, front office change, manager change again. I never really got the opportunity to go up to the big leagues and play on a regular basis. I really didn't. And since then,
I would agree with that statement for sure.
There have been, I'm not a person that likes to make excuses. I'm not a person that dwells on the negative, but to the point where multiple front office members from that time have apologized to me since for, not giving me the chance when I deserved it, and for messing up my transition to the big leagues, whatever. But I ended up becoming a journeyman. And now that I have been a journeyman and I have a ton of respect for the other journeymen, I know what it takes to stick around. I know what it takes to be valued when you're not the superstar, and the value that you bring to the team as a leader, as a good teammate, as an example, as a great insurance policy for the big league team. Should one of those two guys get hurt, and they do get hurt, there's a ton of value there's a ton of respect that I have. And now I'm proud to wear that moniker that I used to think was a dirty word, because of all the things that it means to me now is about respect and hard work and grit and being a great teammate, are all the things that I didn't understand when I used to think it was a bad word.
Excellent answer, man. And I love the analogy. I love the term grit. I use it often in my own household, and just, type of player getting that jersey dirty, right? A gritty player, and your first, if I read this correctly, your first start at catcher, 2 home runs, right?
And threw a guy out.
You hear this stuff, man, and it's funny, and we'll bounce sports a little bit, but I was talking last night. I took my son over to the Sabres game, and we were talking about it, and, the Sabres have a new player, and I said, I guarantee this guy scores. There's something about when you get to the new team, and I really can't describe, I didn't play pro ball, but I can't describe what it's like, man, with you guys. It's like that. You always read and you see this guy did this in his first at bat ever. This guy did this in his first at bat ever, and all these crazy, these interviews I've been doing as of late. When you do the work and you do the research, it's like first at bat was the longest home run ever by a shortstop. You know what I mean? It's these, is it luck? Is it coincidence? Is it karma? I mean, what goes on in the universe where somebody's first game, you walk up and you hit, you blast 2 home runs in your first start as a catcher? How do you explain that?
Yeah, I did it again in my Reds debut 8 years later.
Did you really?
Yeah, that one's almost a better story, because with the Red Sox, my first start as a catcher, I hit 34 homers that year.
Okay.
Right? That was the Quiznos year. And, I had.
Is it forever known as the Quiznos year?
Well, we're going to name it that today.
Yeah, it's not
But I also had like 40 doubles that year. So like everything I hit was an extra base hit. That was just who I was at the time. And that's why, I argue I should have played more. I should have had more opportunity, whatever. 8 years later, now I am full journeyman. I was playing for the Yankees in AAA very poorly. I was not playing well, especially for me. And I got released from AAA, and there was a need. The Reds had 2 injuries in the big leagues in that same day that I got released. And I was just an able-bodied, available player. So I got called up to the big leagues for the Reds, mostly because I had a heartbeat and wasn't hurt. Because I wasn't playing well, right? Like there's days that you earn it, and there's days you don't.
How were you playing defensively, though?
But I went to the big leagues for the Reds and had the best game of my life and broke a Reds franchise debut record, right?
Probably by Johnny Bench or something.
Probably, yeah. It was the best offensive day by a catcher since 1974, Johnny Bench.
That's insane.
And I only tell that story because the question you asked is what happens in that first game. Yeah. And I have a much greater memory of the 2019 day because it's much more recently.
Right.
What I did was, because I hadn't been playing well, I tried to just minimize what I was doing.
Okay.
Like you talk about in math, they call it the lowest common denominator. Like my lowest common denominator is not swing hard. It's not try to hit everything out of the strike zone. It's not try to be a Superman. It's just stay balanced and put the barrel on the ball and swing at good pitches. Like bare bones minimum, what can I do? And then I think sometimes when you try to peel back all the extra BS that you've been doing, all the practice, like I'm working on my elbow or I'm working on my load, I'm talking about hitting this pitch, you just really minimize and you end up being better for it.
Amazing when you say that. Swingman, analytics, this, that, you name it, and it's available now to every young player in the game, and it's available to, young players at age 10 in the game. And I love what you just said about simplifying it, right? I think sometimes you need to get back to basics. You need to simplify it, right? And I've found in speaking, again, in these interviews, even a slump, if you need to get back to where you want to be, back to basics, start contact again, right? Contact. What got you there in the first place? You were obviously a brilliant athlete growing up, and that's why you got drafted by the Red Sox. So, I mean, it's something where you just get back to the basics. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so everyone goes through slumps. It's part of baseball. It's part of life, honestly.
Sure.
You ever watch that TV show on Showtime, Homeland?
I have, yes.
Right. So, or Homeland, or like A Beautiful Mind, that old movie. And if any of your listeners, your viewers haven't seen these movies, imagine a brilliant spy trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. There's a map on the wall, there's suspect photos, and there's yarn tying, and this picture goes with this location and this receipt, and this spy did this and that. And whenever I was in a slump, that's what I felt like. I was like, what are the culprits? Is it my elbow? Is it my foot? Is it my balance? Is it my pitch selection? There's so many things that it could be. And I would always eventually get out of the slump. And my wife, trying to be supportive, she would ask me, all right, so what did you do? What did you figure out so that next time you're in a slump, I can remind you?
Right.
Because I'm a little bit farther away from it. I'll be able to remember better and help you get out of the slump sooner.
Yeah.
And I'm doing mental calculus. I'm doing backflips and somersaults. And I explain it to her. I'm like, oh, I did this. And it's, it's my elbow and I'm being more aggressive and I'm looking for this pitch. And without a doubt, every time she would say, so let me get this straight. Take good swings at good pitches.
Just that simple, babe. Right.
Like they told you when you were 5.
Yeah.
Like that's what you figured out. I'm like,
yeah.
When you say it like that, it sounds so simple.
Well, and she's on the outside looking in, and I think it would be like my wife with whatever it is. Just go and do that. It's just that easy, right? Forget the fact that it's a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Just go and hit it.
Yeah.
You and your wife, you seem to be obviously very close, as you should be, and I hope you are. And tell me a little bit about, the role she plays in your life, man. Even in the playing days, I don't know, you guys like high school sweethearts, or how did you guys have been together a long time, right?
We've been together a long time. We started dating when I was in single A and we started living together when I was in double A. So she's been with me the whole time. And because I was up and down 26 times, because I played for 11 different organizations, she played a huge role in the career. I think you need a rock, right? You need someone that you can rely on, someone that's there with you. But beyond that, I paid rent in 33 different cities.
That's wild.
Think about the number of leases that I had to get signed and broken.
Right.
And the amount of furniture that had to get rented and cars shipped and water turned on and internet turned on and all these contracts had to be then canceled. And so we called her the chief logistics officer for Lavarnway Corp during my career. And the support that she offered really was, Ryan, you go focus on baseball and I'll take care of everything else so that we have a place to sleep and a bed to sleep on and the lights turn on and the water turns on and you don't have to worry about any of that BS. You go hit the ball.
Shout out Jamie. And you're absolutely right. Is you have to have that, and if you don't, like, even think back now, and could you imagine doing any of that single or not having there with you, you'd be a disaster,
Exhausting.
Yeah. And it probably more than, and she probably kept you grounded where you're not out with the guys all the time getting into mischief or doing things that ball players do. And
probably would have lived in like not as nice of an apartment.
For sure. Yeah. No.
Right. Like it might cost a few more dollars, but there's something about like waking up in a place that's clean and safe and you feel good about it. Deion Sanders said, look good, play good, get paid good.
Live by it. And you know what? That's any job. That's any job, man. I take that to the bank with me. I say, you look how you feel how you look, whether it's just, the guy going in with the lunchbox, right? A blue collar guy going in every day, but a fresh haircut, you're going to feel that much better about yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's really, you take pride in it. You're very well spoken. I mean, I can obviously see why people would hire you to go and do any type of event. I like what you have to say. You feel very motivating to me. You have got a real nice, energy and aura to you. I'll be real honest. You do, where I think you make other people feel comfortable in your presence, which to me is one of the biggest compliments you can give someone else, and the reason I say that, man, is whether it's little kids, whether it's your clubhouse or the locker room with players, you want to be approachable. You want to be the type of guy that people can come and talk to you about things. Over the years, did you become that guy? Were you Uncle Ryan in the clubhouse a little bit?
Eventually, yes. Yes. I'd say my career would have been better served for getting there sooner. And part of it came along with the timing of finally accepting that I wasn't going to be the superstar. And part of that was maybe when I was trying to be the superstar, I was trying to be the starter and the guy. I don't know if there was maybe more of a selfishness where I needed to take care and maybe there's some offense that I was trying to produce or I was putting on an act, maybe the character that I thought I needed to be. When I needed to be the journeyman, the support guy, the speaker, the helper, the leader in the clubhouse, that all changed. Maybe I was 28. Life happened. I got sent down back to double A after 5 years in the big leagues. There was some humbling that happened.
Humble pie a little bit, yeah.
Therapy, a lot of going to therapy.
Sure.
I'm a big believer in that. But
I am too.
From the time that I was 28 to 30, I grew up a lot, and I like the person I am now a lot more than the person I was before that kind of evolution.
Dude, I dig that answer so much. You have no idea, man. And I love your transparency, and I love your openness of just, hey, yeah, this is what worked for me, and not being, lion's not sheep, man, not being afraid to say that. And you have a very, I don't care who's listening, what you see is what you get attitude, man. And again, that's what really resonates. And I can feel that, there, a lot of it you just need to grow up. Forget sports, forget everything else. You just need to grow up. I mean, the difference between someone 25 and 26 or 20, I'm sorry, 21 or 25, 26 years old is immense. In any walk of life, you just grow up, you see things differently. I mean, personally, had a certain life, always successful and everything else, but quit drinking completely at age 40. Just set it down, never want to touch it again, right? And that was a light bulb, just a switch went off. And you know what I say? I always get so mad at myself, don't I say, why didn't I do this when I was 30? You know what I'm saying? You can't live with regrets, but I mean, it's just like you with playing days with whatever it was, there's certain things, but I see what you're saying, with the organization, especially as highly taught it as you were, but everything happens for a reason. It's cool to hear your story, and it's kind of a story of don't give up as well. You know what I'm saying? You said 11 teams, right?
11 teams.
And I mean, it's all glitz and glamour for any kid who wants to go play baseball right now. It's all glitz and glamour, right? No, because those moves and this, man, and just being out on the road and doing everything. And what was your favorite, other than the rookie year, right? Or the 2011 with the 2 home runs, what was your favorite team that you were on? Or was it, maybe it was the World Series team? What was the favorite team, or the team that had the greatest substance of guys, that are still your boys now, that you really felt like a brotherhood with?
You know what? I was on so many teams, and a lot of them for such a short amount of time that I don't have a ton of lasting relationships from them, unfortunately. I really liked the culture on the Indians when I was there.
Okay.
That was later in my career. That was 2021. So we're very much into the smartphone technology era now.
Sure.
Where a lot of teams, guys sit in their locker facing their locker on their phone for most of the day.
Yeah.
But that Indians team played cards together, played dominoes, played Monopoly Go in the clubhouse.
That's what I love hearing, man.
Yeah. Teams, Jules, a lot of cell phone action.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And that's refreshing to hear. It almost like genuinely makes me want to be a fan of the. Now, was that a culture set up by the GM down, the head of the snake down, or was it just something, or was it just that group of guys?
Yeah, so I think
like a Miles Straw, those type of cats over there, some kind of blue collar type cats, Yeah,
I think part of it is leadership, and that was Terry Francona again, who was my first manager in Boston. He was there in Cleveland. He sets it, and I think the way he sets it is every day in the team meeting, he values players.
Yeah.
I don't know how allowed it is or not, but he's giving out $100 to player of the game every day. Just cash. And sometimes there's like 5 players. I mean, Terry Francona's made plenty of money, right? So he's not worth it.
Of course.
But he doesn't have to do that.
And listen, nobody there needs the $100 either, but it's the point of recognition. I love it, man.
Yeah, and it's every day. And if 5 guys had a good game, he's giving out $500 bills, and everybody's like, "Yeah, like I love this team meeting," and he sets that atmosphere early.
He said the stories I live for.
I also think that it has to be continued on by the players, right? So Miles Straw, Austin Hedges, these guys are driving the way that it's not poker, it's not spades or hearts or pluck. Austin Hedges came in with the Monopoly Go deck one day.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's playing it. It was just fun to be around.
Yeah, that is cool. How would you describe Francona in one word?
Encouraging.
Okay, that's a phenomenal word, especially when being put on the spot like that.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, thanks, man.
I got a few really, really great Francona stories where he really made me feel cared for, believed in.
Can you share one?
Yeah, I'll share one. The very last time that I ever got called up to the big leagues, 26th time that I got called up, right? At this point, I know who I am.
Yeah.
I am the up and down guy. I'm the last guy on the roster. I'm the insurance policy. And part of that comes with a confidence, and part of that also comes with a very big sack of humble pie.
Yeah.
Right? Because I come up knowing there's a time limit on this call up. I come up knowing I wasn't the first choice. I come up knowing I'm here because someone got hurt.
Sure.
And as soon as that guy's healthy, I will be replaced.
Sure.
But the last time I got called up, it was a home game in Cleveland. I walk in, I always, went straight to the manager's office, said hi, shake his hand. And coming from this place of, I'm confident in my ability, but I also I'm not a full member of this team, right? I'm the replacement player. And I walk in the room and he goes, "Barney, how you doing?" He's got a real deep, gravelly voice. "Welcome. I've been watching you. You've been playing great in AAA. I got to tell you something. Earlier today, we had the opportunity to trade for a major league all-star. And the coaches all got together. We closed the door. We took a vote. And unanimously, every coach voted to call you up instead."
That's an amazing compliment.
Because of the person that you are, the leader you are in that clubhouse in AAA, you're who we want here instead of a big league all-star.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they actually took a vote,
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if they actually had the chance to trade for that player or what happened with that trade. I don't know if the story's true, but the fact that he told me that in that moment, I felt like I could run through a wall.
That's amazing, man.
And I felt wanted, and I ended up playing great for him.
Did that feel? I mean, that feeling that had to feel almost as good as getting that 2013 World Series ring. And I mean that sincerely. You know what I'm saying?
Because yeah, I mean it's a very different thing. But yeah, it felt good.
You know what I'm saying? And just hearing that from such a and not to mention the other coaches that said it as well. Now, again, like you just said, whether true or not, he's got that way about him, you know, to make you guys feel amazing. The national team, man. Talk to me about, I guess, you know, the Israel team, playing with them, the pride that's involved with that, you know, and everything that kind of goes along with that.
Playing for Team Israel has been life-changing for me. I grew up in a mixed religion household that didn't practice religion at all.
Okay.
So, you know, and this is what my kids' book is about. I felt like I was half and half, and I also felt like I was nothing religiously.
Calling the TO. Kids' book. When did you write it?
I published August 2023.
Okay. So I want to get some links out for that. I'm a huge children's book guy. What is the name of the book called?
Baseball and Belonging.
Okay.
Playing for Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic in 20.
And give me a real quick synopsis, man. We got like, you know, a 7-8-year-old kid. Give me a breakdown of the book.
Yeah. So every time I sign the book, I write, do what you love and find where you belong.
I love that, man. I do.
It's my story through the lens of, you know, I grew up in a mixed religion household. It's a rhyming book. You know, Ryan had a Jewish mom and a Catholic dad. He felt like he had to pick one. He was confused and sad.
Yeah. That's going to help kids. That's going to help kids in that situation.
I've gotten some really, really meaningful letters from people that this book has meant a lot to them. Parents have said, we have a mixed religion household. I've noticed a sadness in my kids every time we celebrate the holidays that they couldn't understand. And when we read your book to them, they said, Dad, that's it. I finally understand what I'm feeling. So it's been really cool and really meaningful to have this out in the way.
So at what age or, you know, thereabouts did you say, I'm going to look into this, take this a little bit more seriously? Was it more inquisitive on your end? Were you like, you know, I want to get some more answers, or what was that?
I mean, I was looking for a little bit of a deeper meaning. I was exploring, you know, I was a late teenager. I messed around with Zen Buddhism for a little while. I went to temple with a friend's mom for a little while. And then it was the Team Israel experience that helped me find my own identity. And representing Israel, having Israel across your chest with the national anthem of Israel playing over the speakers, and you look out in the stands and see little kids with a team to root for the first time ever, because there's never been a team like this put together, changed me.
And you guys did well. You did pretty well.
Yeah.
A lot of
pretty cool. And they brought us to Israel. And if you've never been to Israel, it is such a powerful place.
I have not. It's definitely a bucket list city. And, you know, we'll wait until things maybe cool down a little bit, but it kind of, you never want to cross politics, you know, but I will say this, it gives those guys a sense of relief, right? I mean, even those soldiers who are going out and doing their thing, man, if they can kick back, you know, and watch my man play baseball, you know, on the national team, it's just got to make you feel good. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that they look up to you. Even grown men will look up to you in that aspect.
I'd say more than that, because Israelis proper, like real Israelis that live in Israel, they don't love baseball. A lot of them don't even understand baseball.
Okay.
But the Jewish community globally, like, sports is a place where we can normalize things, where we can meet on a level playing field with defined sets of rules. Doesn't matter where you come from, what you believe in. We can come and do something together. And sports is a great place for that.
It's been a great conversation, man. Thanks for coming on the show. And thanks again. I really do appreciate you taking the time, man. Have a great night.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, man. Awesome.
Take care.